we know today in the workplace that 69% of people are at or near burnout.
Yeah.
72%, scary, almost the same number, of people who really don't want to go to work on Monday morning. They'd much rather be doing something else.
Yes.
So I'm sure that you've come across those types of people. How do you address that? How do you work with a client? What is it you tell them to get them to think and act differently?
Yeah, I love that question, and you are so right, Walter. Those statistics are staggering. I would even argue further that working with some people in healthcare, I see that even more, that burnout rate and the intensity. But to address your question, I am someone who wants to influence others to live a life that they love. So the very first thing I tell them is, if you're not excited about what you're doing, you should be doing something else, right? And I believe that, and I'm a model of it, based on what I just told you about the retirement. Mm-hmm. Not that I didn't love my career at JJ. I loved it, my roles, the people I worked with, but I needed to do something more for me, which goes back to the individual. You need to do something more for you. How are you most fulfilled? And we go through this process of, talk about what really excites you, what really fulfills you, what would you change if you could? Now, people get stuck in, well, this is my source of income, I got to do it, there is no other way. But sometimes it's an automatic response. It's not, well, let's dig a little deeper and figure out, maybe, is there some other way? Is there something else you could do? Is there something you can communicate to your manager that might change the way you work or the environment that you're in? I'm very, very big on culture, and I've worked with a lot of companies on that. Culture is so critically important, and I know you know this, but really for the audience to share this, what I tell them is, if they're leaders, okay, and they're dissatisfied, well, who are you surrounding yourself with? What kind of environment are you creating? Are you creating an environment that people want to come to work? Like, it starts with you. You have to model it. You have to engage your team members to say, what's that recipe that works for them? You know, what's the combination of work and play, right? The social element within work, especially in hybrid work situations now, it's even more difficult. But creating the right culture goes a long way. And so for the individual contributor working with them, well, what kind of environment do you thrive in? And where are you going to be most satisfied? Go find that. Maybe it's a lateral move in another division. Maybe it's another company doing the same thing you do now. It just might be something that's missing. So what I encourage them to do is to be bold and to take that leap with intention, right? You have to think through, how do you effectively make a transition to something else? But it's all about living a life that you love. And I'm just such a big proponent of that. And I try to influence as many people on that as I can.